So, Shalom, have you ever been in a situation where you knew what was right, you knew the right thing to do, but fear kind of made you hesitate? So, we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through this Torah portion. This week it's Shlach Lecha, and it's Numbers 13:1 through 15:41. The Haftarah portion is Joshua 2, verses 1 through 24. And the New Covenant portion is Hebrews 3, verses 7 through 19. I want to just start in Numbers 13. And I'm still just loving being in Numbers, loving all the action that is going on in these stories. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Send out for yourself men so that they may spy out the land of Canaan, which I am going to give to the sons of Israel. You shall send a man from each of their fathers' tribes, every one a leader among them." So God says, Moses, okay, send out 12 men, send them to Canaan and check out this land where I'm going to be taking you. In chapter 13, verse 23, then they came to the valley of Eshcol, and from there cut down a branch with a single cluster of grapes, and they carried it on a pole between two men with some of the pomegranates and the figs. By the way, this is the symbol of the ministry of tourism here in Israel. You will see this exact picture on their cars. That place was called the Valley of Eshcol because of the cluster which the sons of Israel cut down from there. When they returned from spying out the land at the end of 40 days, they proceeded to come to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation of the sons of Israel in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh. And they brought back word to them and to all the congregation, and they showed them the fruit of the land. It must have been very beautiful. Thus they told him and said, "We went into the land where you sent us, and certainly it does flow with milk and honey, and this is the fruit. Nevertheless, the people who live in that land are strong, and the cities are fortified and very large, and moreover, we saw the descendants of Anak there. Amalek is living in the land of the Negev, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites are living in the hill country, and the Canaanites are living by the sea and by the side of the Jordan." Wow. Well, this story happened a long time ago, but it doesn't seem so long ago to me, because actually this story, I see it played out every day, even in my own life, here in this beautiful promised land, where truly a land of milk and honey, truly, in my opinion, the best food in the whole world, a beautiful land with so many wonderful things in it. And yet, like, we often have to catch ourselves from complaining about the giants in the land. What kind of giants are here? Oh my goodness, everything is so expensive. It seems like impossible even to buy the smallest little apartment here in this land. We know that there can be so much bureaucracy, so many things that can seem so difficult. There are giants in this land, but what? This is a good land. This is the land that God is calling his people back to at this time, just as he said he would. Continuing on in Numbers 13:30, Caleb, one of the spies, quieted the people before Moses and said, "We should by all means go up and take possession of it, for we will surely overcome it." Here is a man with faith. But the men who had gone up with him said, "We are not able to go up against the people, for they're too strong for us." So they gave out to the sons of Israel a bad report of the land which they had spied out, saying, "The land through which we have gone in spying it out is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people whom we saw in it are men of great size. There also we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Anak, are part of the Nephilim, and we became like grasshoppers in our own sight, and so we were in their sight." Well, who is it that's leading them into this beautiful land. It's God himself. And if God is leading them into this land that has giants in it, God will surely cause them to succeed. In chapter 14 of Numbers, starting in verse 1, then all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried, and the people wept that night. All the sons of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron. When did we see that happening? Last week. So much grumbling going on. And the whole congregation said to them, oh, would that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would that we had died in this wilderness. Why is the Lord bringing us into this land to fall by the sword? So the question is that what God was doing? Was he really bringing them into the desert in order to just kill them by the sword? No. And it's the same way in our own lives. Sometimes our problems seem so big and we can think to ourselves, why is God bringing me into this? Is he bringing me into this, to all these problems just to kill me? Well, the truth is no. He has his plan and he has that promised land in front of me if I can have the faith to believe in him and to get there. So in verse 3, why is the Lord bringing us into this land to fall by the sword? Our wives and our little ones will become plunder. Would it not be better for us to return to Egypt? So they said to one another, let us appoint a leader and return to Egypt. Return to slavery? Verse 5, then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces in the presence of all the assembly of the congregation of the sons of Israel. Joshua, the son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, of those who had spied out the land, these two, Joshua and Caleb, they tore their clothes and they spoke to all the congregation of the sons of Israel, saying, the land which we passed through to spy it out is an exceedingly good land. If the Lord is pleased with us, then he will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which flows with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against the Lord and do not fear the people of the land, for they will be our prey. Their protection has been removed from them, and the Lord is with us. Do not fear them. But all the congregation said to stone them with stones. Then the glory of the Lord appeared in the tent of meeting to all the sons of Israel. And the Lord said to Moses, how long will this people spurn me? How long will they not believe in me, despite all the signs which I have performed in their midst? I will smite them with pestilence and dispossess them. I will make you, Moses, into a nation greater and mightier than they. Oh my goodness. We've got these two men. We got Caleb and we got Joshua, and they have faith. This is faith versus fear. They have faith that if God has told them to come into this land, God will give them this land. They have faith that it can be conquered, that with God, they can do anything. But the people talk about stoning Joshua and Caleb because they're bringing this good report. Now, God hears all of this and he is upset. And he says, you know what, Moses, forget it. I'm going to dispossess this people. I'm going to make a people out of you. And now we see the kind of leader that Moses is. When we get to verse 13 in chapter 14, Moses said to the Lord, then the Egyptians will hear of it, for by your strength you brought up this people from their midst, and they will tell it to the inhabitants of the land. They have heard that you, O Lord, are in the midst of this people. For you, O Lord, are seen eye to eye, while your cloud stands over them, and you go before them in a pillar of cloud by day, and in a pillar of fire by night. Now, if you slay this people as one man, then the nations who have heard of your fame will say, because the Lord could not bring this people into the land which he promised them by oath, therefore he slaughtered them in the wilderness. But now I pray, let the power of the Lord be great, just as you have declared. The Lord is slow to anger. This is who our God is. Abundant in loving kindness, forgiving iniquity and transgression. But he will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generations. Pardon, I pray, the iniquity of this people according to the greatness of your loving kindness, just as you also have forgiven this people from Egypt even until now. Oh my goodness, what an intercessor. This is Moses praying for his people, praying for God to forgive them. We go on into still Numbers 14, verse 20. The Lord said, I have pardoned them according to your word, but indeed, as I live, all the earth will be filled with the glory of the Lord. Surely all the men who have seen my glory and my signs, which I performed in Egypt and in the wilderness, yet have put me to the test these 10 times and have not listened to my voice, shall by no means see the land which I swore to their fathers, nor shall any of those who spurned me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he has had a different spirit and has followed me fully, I will bring into the land which he entered, and his descendants shall take possession of it. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites live in the valleys. Turn tomorrow and set out to the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. So God is saying, Caleb, all these other spies have been complaining, but Caleb has a different spirit in him. In verse 26, the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron saying, how long shall I bear with this evil congregation who are grumbling against me? And no, isn't that true? In last week's portion, we were reading about how God hates grumbling. And we saw that also in Philippians chapter 2, that God does not want us grumbling or complaining. God continues and says, I have heard the complaints of the sons of Israel, which they are making against me. Say to them, as I live, says the Lord, just as you have spoken in my hearing, so I will surely do to you. Your corpses will fall in this wilderness, even all your numbered men, according to your complete number from 20 years old and upward, who have grumbled against me. Surely you shall not come into the land in which I swore to settle you, except Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, the son of Nun. Your children, however, whom you said would become a prey, I will bring them in, and they will know the land which you have rejected. But as for you, your corpses will fall in this wilderness. Your sons shall be shepherds for 40 years in the wilderness, and they will suffer for your unfaithfulness. Until your corpses lie in the wilderness, according to the number of days which you spied out the land, which that was 40. 40 days, for every day you shall bear your guilt a year, even 40 years, and you will know my opposition. I, the Lord, have spoken. Surely this I will do to all this evil congregation who are gathered together against me. In this wilderness, they will be destroyed, and there they will die. And that is exactly what happened. The children of Israel wandered around Bamidbar in the desert, in the wilderness for 40 years. And the only ones that went in were those two faithful men, Joshua and Caleb, because they had faith in the God of Israel. I want to turn quickly to the new covenant portion, which is in Hebrews 3. I'm starting in verse 7. Therefore, just as the Holy Spirit says, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as when they provoked me, as in the day of trial in the wilderness, where your fathers tried me by testing me and saw my works for 40 years. Therefore, I was angry with this generation and said, they always go astray in their heart, and they did not know my ways. As I swore in my wrath, they shall not enter my rest. They did not get into the promised land. Now God's talking to us. Take care, brethren, that there not be in any one of you an evil, unbelieving heart that falls away from the living God, but encourage one another day after day, as long as it is still called today, so that none of you will be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin. For we have become partakers of Messiah if we hold fast the beginning of our assurance firm until the end. While it is said, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as when they provoked me. For who provoked him when they had heard? Indeed, did not all who came out of Egypt led by Moses? And with whom was he angry for 40 years? Was it not with those who sinned, whose bodies fell in the wilderness? And to whom did he swear that they would not enter his rest, but to those who were disobedient? So we see that they were not able to enter because of unbelief. And so I'll just leave you with that. Those words, take care, brethren, that there not be in any of you an evil, unbelieving heart that falls away from the living God. Let's be diligent to keep in the word, to be speaking to our God and letting our hearts be filled with faith in this wonderful God who has done so much for us. Shalom.